Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me tonight, in second position, none other than PK Power, Pat Klein.
That's right, baby. I'm number 2.
Did you assume the position, Pat?
Nah, I just assume I'm 2, and, that was coming out wrong. Never mind.
That's fine. Everything comes out wrong
I was
here.
going to self-depreciate myself, but it's cool. I don't feel like doing it today.
Aw, Pat, we love you.
Aw. You mean I'm not a number 2 to you?
No, you're number 1 in my heart.
Aw.
Speaking of number 1s, we have 2 very special guests here. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 guests. I had to pull it together. You know what I mean? Our first guest is from Respawn Aim Fire podcast, is Adam Gumbert. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? If everyone's having a good evening or morning or whenever you're listening to a particular podcast, have a good time.
Yeah. Adam, I'm thrilled that you're here. Why don't you tell people who you are and why you're important and why they should listen to Respawn Aim Fire?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm Adam Gumbert, co-host of Respawn Aim Fire, weekly video game podcast. The main thing I like to call it is like a variety show. A lot of segments, a lot of game show stuff. Do backlog reviews every month, but it's really just about 3 idiots getting together and have a fun, goofy time talking about video games. And I love running these guys through trivia games that are just, to me, it's funny. That's all I'll say. Love it.
Love trivia. It's a good time. Well, Adam, I'm glad you're here. Like I said earlier before we started recording, I've been meaning to get you on for a while, and I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Thanks for having
me. Here, yeah, man, this is great. Also here from Friday Night Gamecast is Nick Fakhoury. Nick, also welcome to the show. Welcome to the party, pal.
Thanks so much for having me, Corey. Super excited to be here. Obviously, I bet we've been talking in the background for quite some time, but this is his first time on the Boss Rush podcast. I'm happy to assume the number 4 seat. Maybe not as prestigious as Pat's number 2 position, but either way, this is going to be really fun.
It's okay. That seat has been worn by yours truly.
Yeah. Usually Pat's in that seat, so it's nice and warm for you. There
you go. Yeah.
The second seat is kind of sticky. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, it's Laron's seat, so it's full of gummy bears and whatever he does off camera.
Monster Hunter juice.
He does. Look, he does host After Dark, so
hey, you got to get it in.
Yeah. Oh, geez, that's what he said. Nick, tell people about your podcast, why they should listen to you, why you're important.
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't necessarily self-characterize as important, but I would say that you should listen to our podcast. I am the host, one half of the Friday Night Gamecast, my other half, William. He has a wife and a child and a life, so he's not the type that's just gonna out of the blue come and do a guest spot on a show. It gets in the way of things, but
it does.
So the Friday Night Gamecast is very similar kind of to what Adam had, characterized with Respawn Aim Fire. We are a topical variety podcast, but we also blend our episodes with deep dive review based podcasts. So, and our programming is very vibe based. So you might go 3 weeks in a row or 3 episode releases in a row, review, and then we'll jump in and do another kind of topical variety podcast where we can sit back. I usually like to invite people on for those, like Corey or Pat, of course. Anybody from the Boss Rush team, anybody's welcome on. And we kind of like to get a little freaky. We get a little crazy. We are so serious because we have to conduct our critical analyses during our review episodes. So when we have our topical variety shows, we get a little saucy with it. But yeah, no, we definitely like to look at everything in the industry, from industry news, rumors, obviously covering any like major presentations that are coming on, across our desk, and then just looking at all the best games from the past and the present. So yeah, check us out.
Question: can I check you out on any other day but Friday?
Yes, you can listen to us at any time you want. Friday's when we release, because and here's the thing: we talked about time earlier. Friday isn't really is a day. Friday's a feeling that you find in your heart. Friday, any day of the week can be a Friday if you try hard enough, or if you're just
Tell that to
severely
Tuesday.
unemployed.
I like this idea.
Yeah, time's a flat circle. We have
Corey,
to.
why do we
We're on a
record?
space rock orbiting a ball of plasma, right? Any day is Friday. We make our own rules.
Corey, why
Yes.
aren't we recording on Fridays?
Well, because I'm usually recording Pow Block with Ed on Friday nights.
That's crazy.
So
Wild.
Look, my week is it's busy. Thursday's Tower Casuals, Friday's Pow Block, Wednesday's this. Sometimes Tuesday is this. This week Tuesday and Wednesday is this. So
Yeah.
It's fine though. You put in the work so we can all have off for 2 weeks, right, Pat? After
Yes,
PAX.
we do.
Yeah. We got to record one at PAX though to make that happen.
And then, of course, what's going to happen is we'll get like a Nintendo Direct, and then we'll come back on the week that we're not supposed to come back.
Sure. Exactly what happened the last time. A Nintendo Direct happened, and we all got together on our week off and recorded a special episode.
Good times.
But that was a good Direct though.
If
it was a mediocre Direct, we probably wouldn't have done it, right? I mean, maybe not. Maybe
then it just been you and Ed.
Are you guys
Yeah.
hyped for Metroid 4? Or Metroid Prime 4? How are we feeling? Where's the temperature on that?
Here's the thing. I need them to release 2 and 3 on the Switch first. Because you can't just have 1 and 4, all right? This isn't a Pikmin situation, okay? We gotta get them all out. Now that but my theory is whatever the next Direct is, September, end of September, early October. It's usually the end of September, right? Yeah. Been doing this for too long. I know things. I think they're gonna digitally shadow drop 2 and 3
on NSO. You think?
No, on to buy, and
just
then
on
they're
the
gonna
storefront. Okay.
Yep. Like how much is Pikmin 1 and 2 separately? $35 a piece. $30 a piece.
I think so, and it was like 50 for the 2-pack.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do. I think you can buy them separately on the eShop or as a bundle, and then you can buy the physical later, like they did with Metroid Prime. That's my thought.
Makes sense.
That's what I need them to do. I've lost all faith that they're releasing Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, especially now that we're getting a Zelda game this year. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this year I am. I mean, so, and also anybody out there, I know this is not the topic of the show, everybody, but everybody out there is crazy for thinking they're going to bundle those 2 games together. They're both coming out separate, and you're going to pay $60 for both of them. And you're going to like it.
Each of them. Yep.
You're going to hate it,
That's
but
right.
you're going to love it. You're going to love every minute of Twilight Princess. Yeah. You're going to love every minute of Twilight Princess. I promise you.
And the port's going to be bad. The ports is not going to be great.
No, the
port's
going to be awesome.
You think
the Wii
so?
U version was awesome.
You think so?
Yep. That's why my Wii U still hooked up. Twilight Princess is still in there.
Nintendo does not have a great track record. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
Hey,
were you over the moon about Skyward Sword? Like, did that hit all the right notes for you?
I hated Skyward Sword. I hate Skyward Sword. I still hate
just
Skyward
as a game,
Sword.
or like from the remaster perspective.
The motion stuff. I did put about 10 hours into the HD version, but then a new Destiny season came out and I got sucked into that, and then I kind of forgot what I was doing. So darn Destiny.
Well, you don't have to
wasn't
worry
even
about
good
that anymore. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Was it
I
Lightfall?
know.
Is that what you got distracted with?
No, it was whatever the second season of Lightfall was. I forget what it was. I don't remember anything about Lightfall, except for Season of the Wish, which was the last season.
Isn't that a Diablo thing?
Well, Season of the Wish has to do with dragons and ghost dragons,
obviously.
Sick
and witches.
Clearly,
yeah.
Season of the
Deep. The whole thing.
Is that what it was?
Just naturally.
That was the second season. Yes, that's when they introduced fishing. Thank you.
You can fish in
Adam's
Destiny.
on the ball. Yeah, fishing, and there's hoverboards now. You can do Tony Hawk tricks in Destiny now.
How would it make you feel if I said that I played the campaign of Destiny 2 and didn't touch it a single time after that.
The first campaign,
Yeah.
great, doesn't even exist anymore. So
No way, really?
yeah, Red War and Forsaken campaigns do not exist anymore. Neither
can't
do
even-
the expansions. The only thing, anything, so they did this thing called content vaulting because the game was getting quote unquote too big. But we later found out that they just couldn't port everything over in a timely manner. And then, well, we see where Bungie's at now and probably not going to get that stuff ported over. But in order to have things ported over to a newer version of the engine that they're using, they had to cut things from the game. And so they took the original campaign and the Forsaken campaign and vaulted it along with a bunch of weapons and armor and some other stuff. So
I vote for every piece of content that Bungie has vaulted or taken away from its player base. We go to Pete Parsons' house and vandalize one of his cars in recompense.
I just don't want to give that guy any money, but it's okay. They gave me the final shape for free, so it's okay.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Oh, anyways, now that we've gotten
I'm
through
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding. I don't. I don't advocate for wanton vandalism or breaking and entering.
We do not advocate for violence against vehicles. Vandalism. That's what the word is.
Violence against vehicles. I like that.
People either, though. If we're going to be 100% honest out there. But anyways, I think Pat's pooping. Should we make poop jokes about Pat? Pat, are you pooping? This is like a big joke on our show. Is every time Pat turns, because one time I missed a show one time because I was on vacation, and so it was Pat, Laurent, and Stephanie, and I guess Pat ate something that just made him have to leave the show like every 5 minutes to go.
Terrible.
I'm leaving this in, Pat. Sorry, it's fine.
Sorry, Pat.
Yeah. Look, if you're a patron, I'll take it out for $1.
Subscribe to Boss Rush podcast. Boss Rush, patreon.com/Boss Rush podcast. So you can get poop jokes taken out of your episode.
Jeez. Is it sad that like I'm starting to push 40 and poop jokes and fart jokes are still funny?
No, they're timeless.
Yeah, it never goes away.
Yeah. Did you know the very first fart joke is recorded in history?
Like they
I heard that somewhere. It was like on it was on some like real show, like Expedition Unknown, which is like a Travel Channel show where they go look for treasure that's lost and stuff. But it was apparently the first fart joke is recorded in history. So
it's like Greek. On a Mesopotamian scroll somewhere. That'd be great.
Yeah. Anyways, this is the Boss Rush podcast, by the way. If this is your first episode, welcome. Hope you stay. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. Subscribing at the tier that's right for you. It'll grant you pre-shows, post-shows, spoiler casts, voting rights for book club, exclusive question threads for spotlight interviews, early access to After Dark, all that stuff. But if you don't want to support us financially, no big deal. Go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Boss Rush Network. Hit subscribe. If you're listening on audio podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and a nice review. It's very nice. If you're the Elden Ring guy, fix your review. And we're headed to PAX. 3/4 of this panel is headed to PAX. Adam, you're going to PAX. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Yep.
Got to make time to do that. Man, PAX was so much busier than I thought it was.
Here's the thing: we probably passed each other like 100 times because I ran into Roger.
Yeah,
into Roger. Did not plan to see him about 4 times in a row one day. So I'm sure we just walked past each other and didn't know.
Yeah. Man, so many cool people at PAX. But
cool
yeah,
devs,
we'll be at
cool creators.
Yeah, cool information that you learn off camera about certain things that are in development. Like maybe may or may not have heard some things about Nintendo's next console at PAX.
No, you didn't. Really?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
mean,
we're gonna have to talk about
yeah.
that when you turn the record button off.
I've told the story on the show. I didn't reveal who
really?
it was, but Adam, you probably know who it was. I will tell you later who it was.
Okay. I probably do.
Anyways, hi Pat.
Hey,
I was just getting to the part where we're all going to PAX, and you
Nice.
should stay tuned to bossrush.net, our website, to see coverage and all that stuff.
yeah, we
Yeah.
got a slew of good interviews and demos to be trying out here this PAX.
Yeah, I gotta get on the ball, man. I've been reaching out to people that aren't sending me emails and not responding to emails that I've been getting. So that's not really how that should work.
They send you guys creator passes, creator badges.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Media
have media
badges.
badges.
Media badge. Okay.
And then
Mhm.
I think, Adam, you have like a special guest pass, right?
No, I
Since
have
you're on
media.
the panel. Oh, you do?
Media technically goes above special guest badge.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Really?
Technically.
Okay.
So yeah, I
Technically.
went for media.
Yeah, I was talking to mutual friend. I would assume Matt Stormgate, and he was like, "Yeah, just record an episode about PAX,
Mhm.
mention the people that you know, and then send it in whenever you do your application, and they can."
It's
look
easier
at
to
it.
get than you think it might be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, Ed and I got passes like 3 months into this project, and we had like no listeners.
Really?
I mean,
Hell yeah.
we
Awesome.
had some listeners, but not like, we were like, oh, PAX is coming. We're so excited for PAX. And we were like, here's our episode for PAX. Here's the link. And they sent
Mhm.
us pass. We didn't go because it's expensive to get there. And,
Yeah.
I didn't
I will
have
say
a
this.
great job at the time, but
I will say this though, like I fucked up and during my planning because I was the planner. I was the itinerary maker for the occasion up in
that's
Boston
your first
this
mistake
year.
is volunteering to be the
Yeah,
planner.
I mean nobody else is gonna do it, right? So you gotta take that
You
on
forced
yourself.
Steph to do that one.
You forced her.
Sorry, Stephanie.
Yeah,
We're like, Steph, do the organizer, and she's like, yes, I will.
I like, so first of all, I'm never going to stay in any other hotel besides the Omni, which is like right across from the convention center at any point in the future. We stayed at the Logan Airport thing, and it was a nightmare because I in my not realizing, okay, I'm from the South. All right. I'm from North Carolina. It takes me 15 minutes to get anywhere I need to go. All right. In my city. I did not realize that it was literally just Mad Max in the North, in the sleet, in the rain, in the snow. As you're driving there, people are honking their horns at you if you're a millisecond from like not moving when the light turns green. People, okay, I'm sorry if we have any Northerners on our panel today.
Oh no, they're called massholes. My
they're-
friends told me like, "Oh, you watch out! You're gonna notice because they're from Rhode Island. They're like,
Okay.
when you get here, there's guys called massholes, and they will
Okay.
honk at you the second you don't do something."
It's fucking ridiculous, and nobody uses turn signal. It's insanity. But I thought it would be a good idea and a convenient idea to rent a car. Worst mistake I ever made at the experience. So another tip, if you guys want to attend, future PAX conventions, it's going to be nicer next year because it's going to be in May. It'll be a little bit warmer. It won't be fucking freezing and bitter cold when you're up there. But yeah, just stay somewhere that you can take a taxi or you can walk. Don't stay far away from the convention because that's where you're going to be most of the time anyway.
Yeah, we got an Airbnb and we were in, we'll say, walking distance.
I'd say it was a mile.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, well, why don't we get into what we've been playing? Nick, I'm going to go your way first.
Awesome. Thank you.
What are you?
Should we do the spotlights first, or should we do the what you've been playing?
Oh,
Or the spotlights, is that just random?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just kind of like plugs and stuff. Yeah, I guess we could probably do that real quick. I don't have anything to really announce except for, our episode of Jeff Gardner is up by the time this goes up. So if you want to hear a lot of cool stories about Skyrim and Oblivion and Fallout and his new game Weird Song, just check that out. We recorded with him for almost 3 hours last night. It was awesome.
Sweet.
I felt bad. Like I kept asking him if he was okay on time, and he kept saying yes. So we just kept going. Look, you get a guy like that on your show, and he's not leaving. You're not, you let him stay as long as he wants.
That's right. It's quality content.
Yeah. So that's coming. Also, I will be making my appearance in the next month or so on Last Word, the Destiny podcast. So
Nice.
yeah. Shout out to Cog for making that happen. That guy, he's so nice. I'm like, when I met him at PAX, I was like, oh my God, he's like the fucking Iron Lords and Cog, and then he's just like, like everybody else. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cool.
Is that like the official Destiny podcast or something?
No, it's just a long running one that he hosts with
Okay.
Abantis and
Gotcha.
Ty Guy Travis from IGN. They all kind of just talk about Destiny every other week or every week or whenever they feel like it, whenever something's going on.
Nice.
So
cool.
Pat, you got anything coming up?
Well, in terms of the video game book club, right now you can get Stray for free with our friend Lala from Toge. Right, and also Paper Mario is the current book club on Patreon, and that has our
Yes.
friend Celeste as well as my friend Taylor, who's on that one. And next month here, we're going to be recording the Ocarina of Time.
Sweet.
The Orc Arena? Is this a new Echo the Dolphin?
It's a Orcs
remake?
Must
Mhm.
Die
Yep.
spin-off title.
No, I'm
It's
excited.
a game where orcs dance.
Nice. Love it.
Mhm. And
Love
it's
it.
got a story
Orcs
that's
must
supposedly
dance.
like Black Swan,
Yikes.
where the orc tries to become a swan.
Yikes.
A beautiful, beautiful swan. But yeah, we have a great guest from the Zelda universe, so stay tuned for that one.
Is it confirmed?
Yeah, it's confirmed. She's up for it.
So excited.
Yep. And then also we have our the following month will be Dead Space.
Yeah.
And we've confirmed Christian from the Franchise Festival podcast
Nice.
is going to be joining us on that one.
Nice.
And hopefully Laurent. Actually,
was on
Laurent's
our,
going to be forced.
Yeah. No, LeRon has to do it. It's literally the game we put on there for him to be on book club.
Because that's like the only game he beat this year.
Yeah. Adam, you got anything cool to plug?
Yeah, I guess the coolest thing besides Respawning Fire would be I'm going to be at PAX West on a panel with somebody else from this podcast. Super Video Game Trivia, PAX West 2024. It is Friday night at 8:30, or Friday night, the 30th at 9 p.m. in the theater. I forgot the name of the theater. It's at 9 o'clock. Yeah, Super Video Game Trivia hosted by Jacob McCourt.
I'm going to go to Jacob McCourt's Twitter right now because I'm sure he has it plastered everywhere.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. We're closing out the PAX first day, so it's one of those ones that are still open whenever you get there.
Nice. I think you guys are competing against the 20th anniversary orchestra.
Come check us out. We're better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's music?
What do you want to listen to? You want to listen to old video game music or listen to cool trivia with jokes and cool people? Come on.
Jacob McCourt's funny as hell. That's all I'll say.
He's great. Love that guy. Stephanie will be there too, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. Stephanie's great too. She's ours. We have to try and promote because I've been doing a terrible job. Huh? Yeah.
You guys gonna be there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Help me cheat.
Might be falling asleep because it's technically midnight on the East Coast.
Yeah. Hopefully my body will be adapted by then. We'll see what happens.
Coffee and Monster Energy drink takes you a long way.
Taking naps.
Stephanie already asked me to cheat for her, and Roger as well. But I told him whoever can pay me the most.
Yeah, we'll all cheat off of you. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, let's just create a group text. Make sure everybody knows who to send the answers. It's fine. Nick, you have anything cool to plug?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that our most recent episode for the Friday Night Gamecast is live. I was I had a guest, Jala from Jala-chan's Place, to join me to talk about what is arguably the most infamous Fire Emblem title in the Fire Emblem franchise, Fire Emblem Fates. So we played that, and it's a really good one. It's honestly a fascinating episode. So if you're interested in Fire Emblem or strategy RPGs at all, go ahead and check that one out. I also did a show most recently with our good friends from Canada, the Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast. We had a AI trivia episode. So it was basically like Jeopardy, but instead of Alex Trebek, our host was ChatGPT 4. And it was a fucking nightmare. It was a shit show, but it was really, really funny and a great time with the boys there. And so they they're both on YouTube and podcasting platforms. So make sure you go ahead and check out the Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast. And then I'm also working with a friend of mine, Rick from Pixel Project Radio. We're working on an episode right now. We recorded the first part on Monday. I don't want to spoil it because I don't know if he's put out like his content schedule yet for this next coming month. But we have that coming out really soon. It's just a cool AA indie from Xbox. That's all I'll say.
Nice.
But yeah, go ahead and check that out.
Oh, also, real quick, not mine, Stephanie's, but she's not here to plug it. Her interview with John Calderon of Angry Demon Studio is out now. By the time this episode comes out, I think the Rocket Adrift interview will also be out. So we also interviewed Aaron Grubb, musician, Astral Clock Tower Studios. So you can check all those out. Guardians Mental Health, Pat Toge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through the list real quick. That's fine. All right. Anyways, enough of that. Games. Nick, playing. Go.
That's right. We're playing games. I won't take too long because I know that we're running short on time. But I will say that as I have mentioned this year, I've kind of been, because of the backloaded nature of 2024, I've given myself too much bandwidth to play things that I've wanted to from my backlog. So Baldur's Gate 3 has been an ongoing grind. I'm playing the heck out of that. I am closing out the end of Act 1. I just finished the Goblin Camp, and so I'm headed towards the Underdark. I want to get to the Adamantium Forge. Yeah, so there's a lot to do in that game because probably Act 2 is like another 40 hours, and then however long Act 3 is. So yeah, there's a lot to do there. But Baldur's Gate is great. Obviously, one game of the year last year. If you're a fan of RPGs, then this is like by far and away one of the best CRPGs that you'll ever play. Of course, I would say that like it's a qualified recommend for folks because I don't know if the user experience on console is going to be the same on PC. I really enjoy playing on the PC, but I can't particularly imagine you like using the joystick to move the characters across the board. And then like the UI you have, like, especially if you're playing like a very heavy, like build heavy mage or sorcerer class, and you have like 10 pages for your, toolbar. It gets a little bit complicated, but, yeah, I would say PC is a preferable way to play this if you can. I mean, but play however you want, play whatever works. It's a good game. It's awesome. I've also been playing Unicorn Overlord.
Ooh,
nice.
Holy smokes. Vanillaware blowing me away. I had people scream in my face over and over again about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Didn't believe them, but me, I love my Fire Emblem. So I was like, this is like it's doing a cool like hybrid of real-time strategy versus like turn-based strategy. It's one of the things where you can pause the map at any moment and then optimize your builds. It's like this game is about menus and getting your units on the field and like choosing how to like prioritize attacks against enemies and just min-maxing the video game. But it's incredibly cool with a fascinating story and just like a very, very unique aesthetic. So for a JRPG, I'm not even done with this and I'm already going to say it's like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It's great. It's S tier.
I gotta say, I love almost the check mark feeling of going to like city to city, like clearing off the mission, finding all the shinies, all that fun stuff with that game. There's a lot to do.
Yeah,
I think I'm only on the second continent or the second kingdom. Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like I played this game and I started at like maybe 11 in the morning and I was like, I'll play for a couple hours, no big deal. All of a sudden I'm like looking at my watch, it's 6 o'clock at night and I haven't done anything but play Unicorn Overlord all day. It will suck you in. It's got one of those perfect gameplay loops of that dopamine kick every time you do an action. So wonderful game, strong recommend for me. I've been kind of lax on my like indies. I actually played Still Wakes the Deep and really enjoyed it. I kind of talked about it on our show, but didn't do a formal review because it's like it was pretty good. But I have been playing Dungeons of Hinterberg. Very unique. I don't know if I want to call this like a cell shaded art style or if it's more of kind of like a voxel art. It's like a blend of like voxel art
feel
and
like
cell shading.
they went with a comic book style.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. Yeah, very much comic book style with the text boxes and everything. It's not voice acted, so that's one thing that's kind of like just a little bit of a bummer for me. But still, I mean, I understand it's indie team, right? And but really cool concept. You know, you're just playing as this girl who's a lawyer. I would assume like a lawyer from like England or Germany. I think maybe the setting takes place is supposed to be like a fantasy like Germany.
Austria.
Is it Austria? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and she is just tired of her day job, and so they have this area where magic exists, and you can just go across. This is not really spoilers. You find this out very early in the game, but it's about just kind of like going throughout this land, learning how to use magic, and traversing these dungeons and clearing dungeons out. It's very straightforward. I would say that the combat, like if you're one of these people that really like tight Soulsborne, God of War, third-person action combat, this might not necessarily be for you. It's very like it's a little clunky. It's a little clunky, especially with the traversal. There's no jump button. That's something that bothered me a lot as I was playing through. I didn't understand why there wasn't a jump button, but nevertheless, it's not there. Decent game though. I these are not my full thoughts because I'm not as deep into that game as I want to be, but very promising for what it is now. What I've also been playing after finishing Fates, I was like, I needed something to compare this to because it came out at the same time. So I just rolled immediately into Fire Emblem Awakening. So I'm playing through that right now and just enjoying that journey on the 3DS. I'm just putting my 3DS in overdrive.
3DS, man.
Yeah, I know. It's just banger after banger on the 3DS.
3DS was a great system.
Yeah. And then last but not least on my list, I have been playing Asura's Wrath. This is actually, I guess you had said this is similar to what you all do for your Patreon episodes, but this is our Did You Hate It? So we choose one game from our backlog, and Will and I alternate going back and forth and giving it to the patrons to vote on one of 4 games for us to just play and do a deep dive spoiler inclusive review on. I drew Asura's Wrath. This game is fucking sick. Capcom knew what they were doing. Capcom knew what they were doing. I was telling Will about this game. Well, I was relaying to him like my initial impressions to it, and I was like, not only is it just fucking balls to the wall cool, and the guy's like jumping out of the screen and like screaming, and like you're in the game in the first like 2 minutes, you're falling from orbit, punching like spaceships in half. It's just like 10 out of 10 action. But there's also like a very, very heavy blend of like Buddhism and Shinto like iconography that they put in there. So it's like very, very fascinating kind of like religious references and religious imagery that they're baking into the experience. So can't wait to explore more of that. That's all I got right now.
How far are you in that game right now?
I just finished the level where he's like training with one of the other gods, one of the other demigods, who's the guy with like the big monkey hair and the sword. Yeah. So that's where I left off.
Okay. No, there's a lot of memorable fights in it. But I don't remember where that is in the game, so I won't spoil it.
It's relatively early on, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only issue I have with the Shore's Wrath is that you have to buy the DLC to actually get the ending of the game.
That's how they did it back then. That's how they did it. This is what, like 2009, 2011, somewhere around that time. It's like the Prince of Persia 2008 or 2011 reboot where it's like it was a cliffhanger, or not even a cliffhanger. It was just like, oh, the game's magically ended, and if you want to know what happens, which is just another cliffhanger by this $9 DLC. Fucking horrendous,
man. And then remember the game that came out around the time the movie came out, and it was actually good, but nobody bought it because it came out and people thought it was a movie tie-in.
Which one?
Forgotten Sands.
Yeah, Forgotten
Sands.
Yeah.
I hated Forgotten Sands.
What?
It was like Sands of time
awesome.
doo-doo.
Check him out.
I hated it.
Well, Nick, it's been nice. Glad you stopped by.
Guys, please
why don't you let everybody? Drop the call. Whoops.
Oops.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I don't have super strong opinions about it, other than that it was mid as fuck. I'm sorry, boys. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Clipping that out. Short on the YouTube channel. Adam, I have a question about one of the games on your list. How is the return of college football?
Ooh. Oh, magical. Here's the thing. Whenever you guys, I was going through the doc, and it's like things you've only played the last week, because I play a lot of stuff. Yeah. So it's a good thing you could constrict me down to a week. So basically, summertime is a little bit slower.
To be fair, he does it to constrict me down to 1 week.
That's fair. It worked for me too.
That's true.
Yeah, this is the only game I've been looking to turn this summer. Again, because we talked about like years backloaded and a lot of, but I've been looking forward to this game for 11 years. Like, I was so in it, I downloaded the PS3 emulator so I could play College Football Revamped, which was the modded version of 14 that people have been updating for the last 10 years, which is really good. But yeah, College Football 25 is out. It's great. It's everything you want it to be, right? Like, it's so funny because, like, if you get it, you get it. Like, if you were around playing those games, it's different. Like the pageantry of college football, like, it's just different. Because that
was my life from like 2001 to like 2007.
Yeah, prefer it. Even now, it's like I like this style of football over Madden. Like, I'm not one of those Madden haters. Some people are just like, I hate this game. That's the best selling game every year. It's like, okay, EA just keeps casting those checks, but I prefer the speed and just like the way that it plays and presents itself in college. And I've been missing it, and it came back strong. It's not perfect or anything, but like if you haven't eaten a steak in 10 years and then you get to eat a steak, like it doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 steak. It could be a 9 out of 10 and feel like an 11 out of 10. So that's what college football feels like to me.
Who's your team? Do you have a dedicated team?
So I'm one of these. Here's why I like this game so much is because I like the management stuff of it. So I start as an offensive coordinator, and then I have to play out my contract before I can take a head coaching job. Ooh. So in my offline dynasty, I started out at Western Kentucky as an offensive coordinator. Eventually took the job at Tulane, which is where I am now. And now that I've built Tulane up to a 4-star program, the next time I get a big offer, I'm going to go to the big school. Nice. So my team is multiple teams, whatever my coach decides to go. My personal team I would dude, honestly, Ohio State in this game is like crazy. Like they literally just had like the best player in the video game.
Just insane.
The running back, his spin move is literally just like, there's clips of people getting spinned by the Ohio State running backs, and you just can't stop it. It's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I also like UK because I live in Lexington, Kentucky, so it's fun to represent those guys. It's fun.
Nice.
But no, game's great. Have an online dynasty, offline dynasty, road to glory. You get multiple players playing out in college. It's a good time.
Oh man, Adam, you're gonna make me buy this game. This is dangerous.
It's good.
It's dangerous.
I spent $90 to play it 5 days early, so you can spend the money now. But yeah, no, it is an excellent time. I've enjoyed it, and it's basically the only thing I've played most of the summer because I was hungry for a long time. What do you want me to do?
Nice.
Yeah, so, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad college football is the game that I think players deserve since it's been gone for so long. Right? I mean, I used to live, breathe, and die college football, and then import my draft classes into Madden and do that whole thing for like the whole PS2 generation, and then into 360, even though the 360 versions weren't that great. And now it's like Madden's like a game I wish I could get into every year. I just don't have the time anymore. Even though I say that, and I spend 500 hours a quarter on Destiny, and there's your time, but. It just, I'm glad because Madden has not been, it's not bad, but it's not where it used to be, in my opinion. It's definitely fallen from grace a little bit. And so the fact that college football is doing so well and people seem to really love it, happy.
I feel like Madden peaked in 2006. They had Avenged Sevenfold on the soundtrack, Backcountry. They had All American Rejects, fucking Fallout Boy. Forget about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Man,
there's some wild stuff, and it also because you can feel like even the people making the college one are like, yes, we've missed it too. Because again, I was talking about I played that that modded version. I think people who made that modded version went to EA to help make this game. I don't know if I just read that on Reddit. I don't know if it's true or not, but like you feel the love. They're like, yeah, we missed it too, guys. So
Yeah.
everything in it's great except for Ultimate Team, which is just it feels super bare bones, but also I know Ultimate Team's the moneymaker, so fine. But everything else is there. It's great. So
I mean, Ultimate Team for college has to be way harder than it is for like NFL, I guess. Well, I guess FIFA has like hundreds of teams, I guess. So
the only also another cool thing about this. So when the last one came out, the whole reason they stopped making that is because it's like, hey, you're making quarterback number 5 at Texas A&M. It's not Johnny Manziel, but it sure feels like Johnny Manziel, and like
sure
that's why they
like
had to
Johnny
stop.
Manziel.
Yeah, plays like him too. But now, since then, again, like transfer portal's a thing, NIL is a thing, so they were just able to pay all these kids and get their actual like the real people are in the game now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Ultimate Team is, where it's like the real player, but it's just like a generic like model. Like they don't have like cool cards or anything. But then they've also been bringing in older players. So it's like, oh, I got an RG3 card for my Ultimate Team.
Oh, nice.
He was at Baylor killing it. But no, it's fun to have like the actual real players. And then transfer portal is wild. Just trying to recruit when like your dudes can leave whenever they feel like it is. I understand why coaches hate transfer portal because lose some good guys that way.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare. Transfer portal coaching.
I mean, you can also recruit from the transfer portal, which is also very nice.
Nice.
So, the next one I played, I don't know what. So this was a weird one for me. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. You guys played that game?
Oof.
I have not. I've heard things about it.
So here's what I never would have spent money in this game. Point blank period. Like, no, I'm good. I love Rocksteady, but like that doesn't look like a game I want to play. But then Amazon Prime to the rescue. On Prime Day, they were giving it out for free on PC. And first of all, I claim everything. Like, doesn't matter where it's from. If someone's giving away free code, I claim it. Like, I have hundreds of games I've never touched. I just claim them. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I'm like, let me just play it. Let me try it out and see what happens. And I'm surprised how much I don't hate it. Like, so I actually did play Avengers, Crystal Dynamics game or whatever. And the thing about that is like
good, except for the multiplayer stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like the single player, that was fun. It was good and enjoyable. I was like, okay. But then it came to live service stuff. I'm like, I don't care about doing that stuff. This game is similar to that, except for it has Rocksteady's polish. Like it is actually the main campaign is surprisingly actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like the voice acting is very good. The production value is excellent. They do the thing like they do in God of War. Whenever you like walk up to something and the cutscene starts, like it transitions from you walking up to thing to into the cutscene like seamlessly.
Oh, cool!
And I'm like, they really did some work on this. And playing the actual campaign, I actually enjoyed myself. Now I'm in the end game stuff where it's like, oh, go gather these batteries so you can go fight Brainiac on a different dimension. Now I'm to the point where like, okay, now I say, well, this game got a lot of 5s and 6s. But the actual, like I said, especially if you had it for free or for $5. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's better than Avengers. That's not saying much because both these games are mid as hell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I actually don't hate Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League as much as I thought it would.
So for the people who have said like, oh, this is a game where they just put you in arenas in the boss fights are just literally the same arenas, but then you just have like the 3 phases of shoot at the boss harder. Like, is that unfounded or is that still kind of like baked in an interesting way?
No, it is a lot of shoot at the purple guys and shoot at the spots on the purple guys, which is true. I'm not going to say that's not true at all. So like, I don't think gameplay is the most advanced. It is weird for a game for all these different characters to all just be people with guns. Yeah. That's just what it boils down to. But like I said, the banter, the production value, because the main campaign is like 9 hours. You can get through it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't mind just playing like a fun jump around and shoot. It kind of feels like Crackdown. Like, let me just jump around and shoot some stuff. And then have like really good voice acting and good cutscenes in between that. I can live with that. Again, am I going to sit around for 50 hours and do these towers over and over again? Absolutely not. But that's fine for 9 hours. For free, I ain't mad.
And I heard you say on your show that they took the time to actually like bake in lines and like reference the Arkham universe, so they're not divorcing themselves entirely from that world.
Oh yeah, this game's like canon to the Arkham universe,
which is sad, maybe a little bit.
Well, apparently, I saw
There's a
I'll go ahead.
spoiler there. I said there's a spoiler apparently now.
There's a small spoiler. Apparently, the big twist is that they're all clones. So everyone you've killed
Yeah.
from the Justice League is a clone. So technically,
What?
Batman isn't really dead.
Yep.
You know, comic books, people aren't really dead. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, like it is Batman from the Arkham games, like
Nice.
Kevin Conroy and everything. And you know, they referenced that, you know, he showed who he was, and Scarecrow was. It's all there. Harley Quinn, you know, talks about Joker being dead, and
I just wish
all
they
there.
gave good old Kev Dog like a good, 95 Metacritic game to be his last work. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't he in that show that just came out though?
The Caped Crusader.
Something,
I don't know.
The Amazon show.
I thought that was the new actor they got, but I
No,
could be
I
he's
wrong.
don't
in
think he's in
something.
the show, but I think he's in like one
He's in the
last
movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I knew he was in something. I knew this wasn't his last thing because
This
like
was his last thing.
everybody's like, "Oh, this sucks. This is his last thing," and then the comic book people come out and be like, "It's not his last thing. He's in the movie." Oh, what movie?
Yeah, which apparently also is not super good, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll check it out one of these days. But yeah, like I said, if you got it on Amazon and you got friends, again, I basically had a friend who was like, I really want to play with a with a group of people. I was like, sure, dude, I'll run a thing with you. But
Yeah.
Not great, but I don't hate it. Good. It was a fun 10 hours. And there's some other things. Deathbound is an indie Souls-like game that I had played for review.
How is
The
that
difference
with compared to other Souls?
Well, sorry, you guys. It was at PAX, PAX East.
I
Deathbound
actually
was
didn't
there.
try it. I was kind of burned out of Souls at the time, but
Yeah, the wrinkle is that it's a party-based one. So instead of having like a character build, you just swap out 4 different characters like magically, like with a button press.
okay.
So that's my mage. I switched to my sword and board. I switched to my rogue, and you just press a button and switch between them while you're fighting stuff.
Do they share the same health bar?
Everyone has their own health and stamina bar.
Okay.
So that's how you're like, oh, I'm getting low on this guy. Let me switch over to this person. And as you attack with that other person, the other ones start to fill up slowly. So it's an interesting thing. I did like it. It feels like a game that could maybe have a little more polish. You can kind of feel the indiness of it. And there's a little bit of it's not as tight as, I know that you guys got in trouble for Elden Ring, and that's why you have a negative review. But like, I love Elden Ring, and trying to play Elden Ring and then play any other Souls alike, it can be tough because like that is so good in my opinion.
Corey likes Elden Ring now.
Do you guys have a negative review on the old ER? Is that what happened?
Okay, here's the thing. About 2 years
Settle
ago,
down. We got a story to tell.
about 2 years ago, we had our good friend Dan O'Mac on here. Check out his YouTube channel; it's really great. But he was on here, and we were talking about Elden Ring, and Stephanie and I made a passing comment about how Elden Ring doesn't interest us, and that it kind of looks like a Souls game. It
'Cause
was
it
our
is.
comment. And
Which it
somebody
is.
left us a 2-star review and said we said it was bad when we didn't even play it. I said,
Not even one though. What's up with the 2 stars?
Yeah, the FromSoft community is wild.
I know, because Dan liked it, so that's
Oh,
where
so
that
that's
extra
1 star for each person who likes it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
But
That's
yeah,
so
that was our negative Elden Ring review. Is that it looked like a Dark Souls game, and it didn't interest us because we're not into Souls games.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But no, Deathbound, fun. Again, I think you have to be into that genre, but I think it's like worth getting, especially it's like $30 or whatever. It's fun. More Balatro, because Balatro is top 3 game of the year, probably. So I just jump into that.
Strong.
So good. So I jump into that every once in a while. Play a little bit Hindenburg. Nick already talked about that a little bit. I haven't played a ton. I've played like the first 2 dungeons, but
Yeah.
I want to get to the Persona part of the game. That's just what I heard was there. So I'll get there eventually. And then as we're recording this, it's like the last day of Fortnite. I don't play a ton of Fortnite, but when they put cool skins in the game, I kind of have to buy them.
Like
work for
Magneto
them.
and the X-Men.
Yeah. So I basically am like, oh, that's a cool thing. I'll buy the season pass, play for 2 days, and then not play until the week before it's over. And like, I got to do everything right now. So yeah, I just grinded out the last bit of. I got the power armor was the last thing I cared about from Fallout.
Oh, nice.
So that's the last thing I grinded out.
See, what I do is my nephews are obsessed with Fortnite, so I let them play on my account, and I get all the cool stuff, and then they go back to their account and they don't have anything. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is like they put their thing with Disney is unfair because I'm like, okay, Fallout armor, definitely want that. Magneto, super cool. And then it was also like, oh, hey, we're doing a Pirates of the Caribbean event. It's like, you know who loves Pirates of the Caribbean? This guy. So I'm like, well, I gotta buy Jack Sparrow and make him turn into a skeleton. They get me every time. I have every Star Wars skin.
Did they drag you into Sea of Thieves when they did their Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, absolutely.
crossover?
Well, I also liked Sea of Thieves anyways, but then I was like,
Okay.
well, I definitely have to play it more because Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm an idiot for Pirates of the Caribbean. Don't know why. It's just my thing.
It's a pirate movie. It's good.
You got to give it to Disney for the most part of giving people the right IP to do, right? Like Star Wars with Respawn and
So
Spider-Man
that's
with
John
Insomniac
Drake.
and- I know. Yeah, John
Old
Drake.
John.
Good old John.
Mhm.
He knows what he's doing over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones with Machine Games. That's an interesting one, but look, I like
I'm
Machine
so
Games.
curious as to if that's going to be like a 5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
It's
there's
not
no
going to be
in-between.
anything in between. It's going to be like it's going to be a 5 or a 10. Nothing in between.
Because Machine Games are good. I mean, like,
Corey, you
what is it,
forgot the Xbox tax. That means it's going to be an 8 or a -1.
Right, it'll be an 8, and then when it comes to
absolutely right,
PlayStation
Patrick.
next summer, it'll be a 9.5.
Yeah, correct.
And then someone will try to port it to Switch, and it'll be like a 6. Rough. 2 years from now.
$70 though.
Yeah,
That's it.
cool. Yeah, man, this Fortnite stuff, it's killing me. I want this X-Men stuff so bad. If there was one other
today,
if there was one other thing I wanted in there, I would have gotten it. But like, I love Jubilee. I don't care about Cyclops. Oh well.
Did you watch X-Men 97 though?
So, not yet, but I've been.
should.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I went to watch it, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rewatch the original series
X-Men
before I watch
93.
X-Men 97.
Yeah.
And so I introduced my
Yeah.
son to the X-Men, and he fucking loves it.
That's how to do it. That's how to do it right there. Make another generation of an X-Men
I'm
fan.
like, oh, thank you for loving the X-Men. He's like, he runs around the house now. He'll like jump off the couch and go, Wolverine, and he'll pretend like he has claws. It's awesome.
Now you got to take
So
him
you
to
watch
see Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
So I let him watch the Disneyland clips on Instagram of Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
So he knows who Deadpool is, but he doesn't know who Deadpool is.
How old is
there's
your
no Ryan
son? Just
Reynolds
out of curiosity, is he younger?
He's 3.
Yeah. It's not time.
Might
yet.
be a little
It's
young
not
for
time
Deadpool.
yet. It's not
Yeah,
quite
you can show
there.
him Deadpool. He won't remember it.
I know.
That might be true as well.
But yeah, I'm trying to get. He's already in the Ninja Turtles, so I'm like, yes, that's one. Now I got to get him into the X-Men, and he's already in a Toy Story, so that's a win for me. And so those are like, now I just got to get him into Indiana Jones, and then we'll be set. We'll be fine.
Here you go. I'm just saying, when you watch 97, you might actually like Cyclops. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. They make him a real character.
It's
He's
not
real cool.
It's not that I dislike Cyclops. It's just like there's so many cooler characters.
Oh no, I used to think he was a goober too, but I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
He's
Yeah.
kind of a badass. Yeah. We this is a Scott Summers household over here.
I mean, Rogue, Storm, Beast, Wolverine.
There's an episode where I'm not going to spoil anything, but like there's an episode where Rogue loses her shit. Also, because I was super young when the original X-Men cartoon was out, and so I only watched like bits and pieces of it. I had to, do the whole thing where you record it on a VHS, and you get the Pizza Hut commercials in between the episodes and everything. It was awful. It's terrible, but I had no idea. My real only reference of Rogue is with the like 20th Century Fox X-Men movies. I had no idea that she's basically just Captain America plus mutant powers and can fly.
Yeah, she's cool.
It's awesome. Anyway,
And look, I love Anna Paquin just as much as the next guy, right? But
Yeah.
well, to be fair, the writing in those movies also didn't do her any justice.
nah.
Hey, one of those writers was David Hayter.
Well,
X2
David Hayter
X2 was
can
great.
Suck it. He can go play Snake, or no, that's
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think he
Solid
was. Wasn't he
Snake.
not Solid Snake? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's Snake.
yeah. Okay,
You're thinking of Bill
yes,
Hader.
I got
Yeah.
confused for 5 seconds. I'm like, wait, am I thinking of the right one? Because my brain is fried. It's fine. Pat, save me. What are you playing? Help.
What am I playing?
Yes.
Well, I managed to finish 2 games this week. I picked up Cat's Quest last week, and that was a fun, short, palate-cleansing indie title from, I believe it's a team in the Philippines that made
Nice.
this game. And
What'd you
it's
play that
actually a
on?
team of 8 people.
Was that a Nintendo Switch joint, or is that like how'd you play that one?
I played this one on the PlayStation because I want the achievements.
Nice. Okay.
It's
They're called
also
trophies, Pat.
Yeah, trophies. Get it right.
trophies, achievements, stars. If Nintendo ever makes theirs, actually, PlayStation took stars. Never mind.
I have a great idea. Remember when Wii U did sticker books for like a hot minute on Mario?
Stickers.
Yeah, you fill out the sticker book, and then when you fill out the sticker book, it closes and puts the big red ribbon around it. Just saying.
Dude, that's genius.
I know. Ed and
Nintendo.
I did 3 expansion passes on that back in the day. So we had nothing else to talk about because it was the Wii U. Everybody, man, hot games like Color Splash and I don't know, Cars 3.
The Wind Waker HD Deluxe.
There you go.
I wish that was a game that came out when we started. Man.
Yeah. But yeah, Cat's Quest. This is the 3rd one, and this one is a pirate-themed Cat's Quest.
Ooh.
If you ever played a Cat's Quest game, their big draw is that the world map looks kind of like a map, but then it's got little like pop-up towns and mountains and things, and you just kind of go off and explore and do your own thing. Like the game gives you a quest to find a treasure called the North Star, because that's what all the pirates are, gearing for. And then they're like, okay, go, have fun, play. And it's just a really cute game with some very cute puns. The dungeons are alright. The combat is a mix of whatever you want it to be, because you can shift up to different types of weapons, ranging from long-range pistols to it's almost like a grenade launcher that shoots exploding fish, to magic wands. Or you can go the melee route and use swords or axes or guitar axes or claws. And you fight really cool bad guys like the Metallica gang.
Nice.
Nice.
Did you play Little Kitty Big City this year by any chance?
I did.
Okay. Where's your ranking? Stray, Little Kitty, Cat Quest 3.
Stray is definitely on the top.
Oh yeah.
Little Kitty was good. Like, I like the concept of it, but the controls were horrible in that game.
Yeah.
And Cat's Quest 3, while it's definitely like intriguing, like I enjoyed the charm and the overworld, and I'm thankful it's short because you pretty much play everything you need to play in the first hour, and then it doesn't offer like anything new after that. So the mechanic kind of just starts to wear down a little bit by the end of it, but they do have this cool like tower that you can like try to they give you 2 minutes off the bat, and every time you beat like a round of bad guys, it adds time to the clock. But once your 2 minutes is up, it's how many floors you got to, and you just kind of get a score that way.
Gotcha.
So there could be some challenge in that, but for the most part, it's a very simple game, and the trophies are simple to get. So
sweet.
Nice.
I did platinum that one. That was platinum number 88.
Nice.
Yep. Corey, I got a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm joining the book club this month.
What?
Because I couldn't get that 4th guest, but I decided, what the heck, I'll just play Ocarina of Time anyways. I don't know, something about Stephanie's infectiousness with that game just kind of,
She does love that
really,
game.
She does.
She's
obsessed.
obsessed.
She started playing it again, and she's like, oh my gosh, and she started talking about this and that. It's like, fine, I'll pick it back up again. It gave me an excuse to play it on the Switch, so new system to play it on. It was the old N64 version. In my opinion, I definitely have to go with the 3DS version as being the superior version of that game.
Really?
Like, not only is this 3DS version like a heck of a lot prettier to look at, I feel like it's easier because the gyroscope can help you like get that last little like millimeter of aim if you're trying to target something, whereas like the Joy-Con or the thumbstick, like you just tilt it a little bit and all of a sudden your like cursor just like goes off like to the other side of the screen. So, but I did make it a challenge to 100% it again, and I did. So I've 100%ed the 3DS version, and now I've 100%ed the N64 version.
How long did that take you?
Yeah, I was curious.
The 100%ed probably 20ish hours.
Okay.
Go through all the shrines and all the levels and everything. That's not bad.
Yep, the shrines,
I-
the Skulltulas, the upgrades, everything.
As a kid, I remember playing that game and just being like, obviously, as you know, my little idiot kid brain, I was like completely stumped by some of the puzzles that were in the shrine. So it's like I remember it being infinitely more like vast and complicated than it actually is, probably compared to today's standards. But yeah, that's awesome.
I told this story last night when we were recording, but when I was the last time I played Ocarina of Time was when it came out, and I didn't know you could go back in time when I was playing it, and so the Shadow Temple requires you to be Kid Link to solve some of the puzzles, and I got stuck, and then I played Majora's Mask, and then I said I should probably play Ocarina of Time again, and so I bought the guide for both games and beat it, but I haven't played it since then, like in a serious way. I probably played through the Great Deku Tree probably 15 times in my life, but that's about as far as I got.
Nice.
Corey, I'm going to give you a nice hint that's going to help you with the rest of the game.
Uh-oh.
After you beat the Forest Temple, you can go back to the Temple of Time, and then you can go back in time again.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Not only that, you get an Ocarina song that allows you to fast travel to the Temple of Time.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy
I know.
talk.
It's like a lifesaver.
Are you using a Game Genie? Or Game Shark,
No.
I guess, at that point?
Yep.
Game Shark.
It was magic at that time.
Oh, man.
But yeah. So I will be ready for book club.
Nice.
And speaking of book clubs, I started getting ready for the other book club and restarted Dead Space.
Nice.
I don't know. I think for me, there's something about Alien Romulus coming out that's making me really want to do either like a horror space or like kill space things right now.
Kill space things.
We have I got Will and I tickets to Alien Romulus tomorrow night at 7, so I am vibrating with excitement.
It's got a 96 on Metacritic, or not Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah.
So like
so
they're saying good things.
Nice.
But yeah, I started that one up. It is a gorgeous game. Like like the sheen on Isaac's metallic helmet, and just like it's crazy thinking like, is this how we would live in space? Is like living in these like almost rusted metal spaceships that you kind of wonder why they didn't make anything a little more like aesthetically pleasant, but here they are like living in things that just look like metal. I don't know. It's
containers,
metal fans and vents everywhere that just happen to have monsters that want to stab you to death.
It's unitology, man. You know, so you don't need aesthetics or homeliness when you have the unity.
Yep,
right?
The unity and the markers. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
I store all my scary monsters up in that vent. That's why it's closed.
That's right.
Hey Corey, you joining us for that book club?
Well, fuck no.
No,
I'm gonna be playing a different set of games during the 2 book clubs that I am off. Thank God.
Patrick, what I will tell you about the Dead Space remake is that they included new side quests in the game. And I mean, I don't know if you've looked up enough about it, but there's also a secret ending if you do certain things.
Yeah,
so
you have to beat the game once, and then you go through again and try to get the markers.
Yeah,
I've heard.
Really, really, really awesome secret cutscene, but also very sad because
it's not
EA has essentially all but confirmed that the remake didn't sell well enough to go on to do 2 remake, which is just so depressing. 2
you know what? Give it 10 years. Give it 10 years, and they'll retest the water again.
You're right.
Be like, oh hey, here's that remake that you guys wanted for 2.
They should have just remade 1, 2, and 3 at the same time, like they did for Mass Effect, and sold them in a bundle. Sounds like
But then
a
it
smart
wouldn't have
move.
been
BioWare
good.
knew. BioWare knew. Should have relayed that message to Motive. Rip BioWare.
No, they saw the
after-
sales of RE2 and were like, "How about we do that
Yeah.
Yeah,
one at a time?"
yeah.
Yep. And finally,
good times.
another remake that I've been playing, again, dealing with space aliens / demons, because I'm in that mood right now. Like, I came home tonight, I'm like, I really want to play this. Doom 2016.
Nice.
You know, there's something, there's almost like that carnal urge to just rip and tear.
The opening of that game is really good, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
And I played it on Switch, so you know it's good when you play it on Switch and it still hits you somewhere.
When that music, doo-doo, doo-doo,
Yeah.
doo-doo, doo-doo. Yeah, it's like,
Nobody's ever done it like Mick Gordon, and it just makes me so sad that Bethesda, or not really ZeniMax, treated him so badly during
Eternal.
Eternal.
It'd be interesting to see how they pull off Doom at Dark Ages. Like what? Like, are they gonna actually like get Mick Gordon back on that, or is he gonna be like,
he'll never work for them again.
yeah,
No.
unless they pay him right?
I hear.
I don't know.
Even then, I don't think he will.
I
They
hear,
burned the bridge so hard.
I hear ex-Bungie employees are looking for work. They have some pretty stellar composers.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Oh,
Martin
too soon.
O'Donnell. Yeah, forget about it.
No, I was thinking more about Salvatore, but
So it's
I mean, Marty O'Donnell is like the mayor of Nevada now or something stupid. I don't
no
know.
way. Are you serious?
Yeah, he's
His life
like,
went pretty wild after he left
Yeah.
Bungie. Yeah.
yeah.
Hell
Look it up.
yeah.
It's crazy. You could do
I'll
a whole
have to look
podcast episode on what happened to him after he left Bungie. Oh,
Okay.
good times. Doom
rip
though,
and tear,
good
baby,
choice.
rip and tear.
Good choice. I guess that means it's my turn, huh, Pat?
Yep.
Great. I've been playing
What'd
Wolfenstein:
you play
The
in
New
the
Order.
last day?
Nothing in the last day. No, I played a little bit of Splintered Fate actually before I hopped on the Ninja Turtles game, which is great. But I've been playing Wolfenstein: The New Order. I saved some games from last night to talk about today because I know my limits. Man, The New Order is really good. Like, I mean, I haven't played it since it came out, and all of my achievements are on the 360 version, which were 4 discs that I kind of forgot. It was on 4 discs. But just the story they're telling and the way it's happening, and just the weapons feel really good. The weapons have great kick. They're over the top without feeling ridiculous, right? Like when you're dual wielding assault rifles, like it's really over the top, but it doesn't feel ridiculous, right?
Feels like something BJ Blazkowicz would do.
Yeah. But like the fact that Machine Games was able to make me care about BJ Blazkowicz after 30 years is like really replaying this game gives me really high hopes for the story they're going to tell for Indiana Jones. And that's why I'm replaying with the Wolfenstein games, because I'm trying to refamiliarize myself with their storytelling and their kind of gameplay. Not that you're going to be like blowing Nazi heads off with shotguns or anything, but maybe you'll decapitate one with your whip or something. But it's really good. It's really well done. I do want to say though, I'm playing this on the Series X, and it has all the the fancy upgrades like frame rate upgrades and the auto HDR stuff, which it actually looks better when you turn on the HDR stuff off. But most games do, I think, in my opinion, when it's auto HDR. It still looks phenomenal, except for some of the you'll come across an asset that you don't need to interact with, right? Like I don't know, like a caution panel, like a emergency exit panel or something, and you walk up to it and it's super pixelated and grainy because they don't, it's an asset you're meant to run by instead of, walk up to and stare at for 10 minutes. But, there's some buttons on the elevators that you use that do that, or, some of the control panels in the vehicles and stuff. Definitely JPEGs. But other than that, it's an incredible game. It is an incredible video game. Breaking out of the Nazi camp was one of the coolest missions. Because they break up the gameplay, right, with like you actually have to go do stuff instead of shoot guns, which I always appreciate in a first person shooter. Not that I don't enjoy the Halos or the Call of Duties once in a while, but like, this game has some substance to it. So really, really enjoying that. I'm on chapter 13. There's 16 chapters. I don't know if I'm going to play the other timeline or not, because there's 2 timelines depending on who you save at the beginning. Spoilers.
Who did you save this time?
Ferguson, the older guy.
The older guy.
Yeah, they seem like buds. So I'm like, I don't want to kill my buddy. This kid.
I feel like he was
It's
more
fine.
the canon one, to be perfectly honest. Like, I played both timelines, and I didn't care for the other guy.
Yeah, Wyatt is the other one.
Yeah, Wyatt. Spoilers, kind of becomes a druggie.
Yeah.
After his incident.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I've also been playing through Ocarina of Time. I just finished Death Mountain. So we're on our way to Zora Land, or whatever it's called, Zora's Domain. So I have to say I'm really glad I'm playing it with a Nintendo 64 controller. Because playing it with the Pro controller, the Switch Pro controller, is, we'll say, an interesting, obtuse experience. And
did you get like one of those modded, like, or the new gen N64 controllers for the Switch?
I got the ones they were selling through NSO.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I got 2 of those just because I don't know, something about growing up in the 90s and Mad Catz third-party controllers always dying. I'm not going that route again. They've ruined me. So, but yeah, Ocarina of Time is. I'm having fun. I'm glad the N64 controller exists. Although I don't understand how we used to play like that, and I guess it's just because we never, like, the only controller that was like wide with 2 handles was the PlayStation controller, right? And so like playing with the middle prong or whatever you want to call them, and then holding onto the right one, and your hands are super close together. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels very uncomfortable with my hands that close together. I don't understand the Nintendo 64 controller at all. I understand it less now than I did then, So
because we didn't know any better. We're like, I guess this is how it's supposed to be. But yeah, it doesn't. For it to have 3 prongs and then you can only use 2.
Yeah.
So you just don't use the left side of the controller most of the time. It's weird.
Right. I don't think I've ever touched the L button or the D-pad on my original Nintendo 64 controllers. Because the Z button, man. The Z button changed everything. Z targeting. Oh, Zelda, Z targeting. Changed everything. Until they didn't. So I'm playing that. And then the last game I'm going to talk about is Flintlock Siege of Dawn. It's I'm coming around on it. The combat's really fun, except when it doesn't work. The combat is incredibly broken in that game, especially when you're going up against like armored enemies, and there's like the specific counters you're supposed to do to armored enemies to knock their armor off, so you can do correct whatever, and then you can button mash them to death. But like sometimes I have to restart from a checkpoint to make the game load the ability to break the armor. And I don't know if that's a me specific situation. I know Luke Lore was on a couple weeks ago, and he was having some buggy issues with Flintlock, but yeah, this is a weird thing that I ran into, and it's crazy because I really want to like the game. I like the characters. I kind of like the story they're telling. Your little companion pet. I always forget its name, that follows you around and gives you special powers and stuff, is really cool. People keep comparing this to a Souls game. I don't see where the Souls aspect comes into it at all.
No, you lock on to people, I guess.
Sure.
It's melee combat and range. I don't know.
But it reminds me a little bit of Immortals of Avium in terms of like, this is a really cool kind of AA experience that I really want to love, but there's just something about it that's holding it back, and I can't pinpoint what it is. But it's an interesting game. If you have Game Pass and you like kind of not stylish action games, it's definitely not Devil May Cry or something, but it's kind of a fast-paced action game, and it's really cool. And if it's not buggy for you, I think the combat is really interesting and cool. I like the double jumps. There's a double jump, and then there's like this bomb jump that you use to like strafe jump, which is cool. So yeah, it's in one of your friends is like this peg leg kind of guitar player or lute player that just kind of makes friends with people in the neighboring town, and I'll meet you there kind of guy, and then he shows up for cutscenes and then you don't see him again until you're ready to travel to the next area. So that's what I've been playing. Unless you guys really want to hear about Paw Patrol Mighty Pup Save Adventure Bay. Yeah, I see all the
I got a
excitement.
feeling how that game is, I'm good.
To be fair to that game though, if you have a child and they need to learn how to play a video game and move around in a 3D space, this is a pretty decent one. But do I want to play it? No. My son wants me to play it though. Every time we come down in the basement, he grabs the controller and hands it to me. He said, "Mighty Pups." I'm like, no. Oh man.
You should put him on Skywalker Saga.
Yeah,
that's actually a fun kids game. That's 3D.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the best way to introduce my kids to games, because I thought something like Yoshi's Crafted World would be one that my daughter would get into because she's into crafts and it's side scrolling and whatever. Neither of them can figure out how to jump and move at the same time. That is the biggest hurdle out of all of these games. So I said, well, let's try like a 3D space with no camera. So I popped on Mario 3D World and they moved around really great. But again, they can't figure out how to jump and move at the same time. And I'm like, why? I don't understand how to teach them how to do that, and I'm just like, you can, if you hold the stick and you run, you can press the B button to jump, and they will jump and move at the same time. And then they'll do it once and they get excited and then they forget how to do it instantly.
Multitasking doesn't develop in the brain until you're 7 years old. Just a heads up. That's not actually a scientific fact. I just said a thing.
That up.
Maybe start them off with like some kiddie mobile game or something.
No mobile games. No.
I play Marvel Snap. It's a pretty good mobile game.
No screens at that age, You gotta keep them away from them.
No, I'm trying to figure it out. So there's, I don't know. We'll get into it another time. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. Let's get into our weekly segment, though. This week's weekly segment is Video Game Shame. Let's pick a game or a series that we've never played, and we're embarrassed to tell everybody. Like for me, this time it's Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger. Never. Oh, look, there's a lot of Super Nintendo games on my list here. Okay, I've never owned one. So, Chrono Trigger though is like I would say a major one that I've never played. I hear great things all the time, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play the DS version because I hear that's the best one. Go to look it up, expensive as hell. I'm like, nope, not worth it.
I actually have the DS copy.
Oh well, lucky
in the
you.
other room there. Yeah.
Lucky you.
So
You know,
it's,
you
it's
can
on
make
my.
a car
It's actually
payment
on my
with
list to play this year. Yeah,
you can make a car payment with that guy.
I was gonna say, rest in peace to Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
You'd enjoy his art style in this if you're a Dragon Ball fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm kind of with you though. By the way, like if you weren't playing games during a certain generation, and people are like, "Oh, that was so good 20 years ago," it's like I can't go back to play games from 20 years ago. I mean, they have to be very special for me to be able to do that.
Well, earlier this year, Pat, should I tell them about my journey with Final Fantasy VII?
PS1's a tough generation to go back to.
I tried so hard.
Yeah, Corey had got into the Final Fantasy hype, and he's like, I'm gonna start with the original Final Fantasy VII, and Lauren and I were like, no, do not do this. Do not go this route, and he went that route.
I did.
He'll never play Final Fantasy Remake ever now.
That's fine. Me and Cloud Strife never meant to be. Tifa is not my lady, apparently.
You know, maybe when Part 3 comes out, maybe we can hype you back up again. But then have you start on the actual remake.
Yeah, start on the remake, incredible game, then go on a Rebirth and spend 120 hours in that joint. Then you get to find out how Tetsuya Nomura wants to change the legacy of his own game.
Yeah. Tetsuya Nomura. Kingdom Hearts is my Nomura game. So my daughter somehow saw the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer somewhere.
Really?
It said, and the first 3 things in the movie in the trailer are Frozen, Toy Story, and Tangled, which are which is her 3 favorite movies. And I'm like, oh my god.
That was my biggest critique of Kingdom Hearts 3, a game that I didn't finish, and I probably should go back to finish. But the fact that they were so Disney heavy up front when it was completely, and also broken game when I played it when it came out. It was just it did not run very well. Bugs all over the place. Square Enix just did not care what they were doing with that one. And then obviously it's just it was, Frozen, and then it was back to the Lion King place, and then it was back to the Toy Story level, and I'm just I've seen all these movies.
Pirates of the Caribbean again.
Yeah. I've just seen all these movies. I have no desire to replay a 1990s film in, what was it, 2022? I don't know.
2021.
Was it 2018? I don't know.
21, 2020? I don't know. It was a while ago.
It
came out. No, it was 2019 because it came out before the new consoles came out.
2019. Yep.
Yeah.
January 25th, 2019. Yeah.
It's kind of sad because when they were actually questioned why they didn't use really any of the Final Fantasy characters, it's well, we only did Final Fantasy so that we could establish ourselves. Now that we have an established amount of characters, we felt like we didn't need to go that route.
Well, my understanding is that they did do all of the Final Fantasy stuff, and they did do all the Kingdom Hearts shit. It was just in the last 25% of that game. So it's
it was in the DLC. Yeah, they threw those characters in, but honestly, I can't even think of one Final Fantasy character that was actually in the game until you got the DLC.
I don't remember anything about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I love that series. I remember them playing chess at the beginning. It's kind of all I remember. Maybe that was just a trailer. I don't even remember now.
No, I think you were right there.
Pat.
Yep.
Is it too early to say you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3? It's only been out for a year. I could
probably just say I haven't played any of the Baldur's Gate. But as an RPG fanatic, people expect me to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that you didn't play it, honestly.
You have to.
Stephanie played it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the crazy thing. For me, it's not that I don't like Dungeons and Dragons. I just don't like how long the battles take. Is my thing. and the game's too close to Dungeons and Dragons and having like 45-minute long battles against
I
a
mean,
goblin.
it's just turn-based combat. I mean, do you like the recent Yakuza games?
I do, but those are
'Cause
faster
it's
pace.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, it sounds like a wild comparison, but some Yakuza fights, depending on if you like the enemies, like the grouping of enemies that you're fighting, it can take a hot minute, especially in the specifically like a dragon. And I haven't played Infinite Wealth yet, so I want to get to that eventually. And I know that they changed the combat systems, but I got the 1,000 in like a dragon, which was an arduous undertaking for me personally.
That sounds like
Yeah.
arduous. Yeah.
It was a lot, but I will say that, like, with my time so far in Baldur's Gate 3, the fights don't necessarily take that long. There are big fights. There are like major battles that will take you a while to like get through. But if you're just thinking strategically and you're working your way through it, like it's my flavor of combat that I enjoy, and because I love like the Final Fantasy style of like turn-based combat as well, and Fire Emblem and all that, it doesn't really bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your main qualm, I understand if you don't like Dungeons and Dragons.
It's more the like I don't mind a little bit of tactics into my battle. Like I love JRPG style turn-based. That's totally fine by me. It brings too much Dungeons and Dragons in my opinion, just with what you can do. I don't know. That's almost like it's daunting, I feel. But I haven't played it, so maybe I'm just like freaking out in my own head.
You should try it. Play it on easy because they actually change like the amount of enemies and the actual tactical difficulty depending on your difficulty for battle.
Yep.
So you can just play easy battle and do all the cool decisions and all the role playing stuff the same, and it'll just be a lot quicker.
Yeah. I did not know that it had multiple difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Like Corey said, it's probably something that I will probably try eventually. But like Astrobot's coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's true. You won't beat it between now and then. That's for sure.
You can't do anything about that.
Yeah. Does Astrobot really come out the week of PAX?
Yes. No, the week after.
Oh.
We'll be back home on the 6th, Friday.
Star Wars comes out the week of PAX.
Yes.
Like something comes out that week.
That's what happened
Visions
to me.
comes out that week. Emil comes out that week.
I think
Outlaws is on the 30th, which is the day of the panel.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy Rebirth came out like one of the first days of PAX East, and I was dying to get back and play it.
Mm-hmm.
Man. All right. Adam, what game have you never played?
No, it's funny the whole thing about being, feeling shame or whatever, because I don't feel shame about playing games that I think are bad or I don't care about.
Hey,
but I've got 3 of
shit.
them. Do you want me to say all of them or do you want me to pick one?
Nope. Go through them. Just say them all.
Metal Gear.
Okay.
I've played multiple, beaten one of them, but I don't want to keep playing that series. Don't like Metal Gear. I actually think it's very overrated. Final Fantasy. I've only ever beaten Stranger of Paradise and haven't played any of the other ones. Which apparently is very strange to do.
Apparently,
that's an interesting.
Stranger of Paradise is like
that
one
series.
of the best ones of the modern games that have come out. That's what I've heard from different friends.
I don't know. It's
I hear
wild.
chaos.
I've heard the story. Like I've got about halfway through Strangers of Paradise, but from what I understand, the story definitely takes a twist and like is absolutely phenomenal in the second half.
There's a cool twist. For me, not knowing much about Final Fantasy, that being the only one I played, I was like, that's a cool twist. I don't care, but this is a cool twist. And then Metroid Prime. I think I only played like 10, 15 minutes of any of those games. I've not actually sat down and beaten the Prime series. I played other Metroids, but Prime I've not gone through.
Yeah.
It seems like you're either a Prime person or a 2D person. There's no like there's not a lot of crossover there, it seems.
I love Metroid Fusion, man. I got the like the Nintendo Switch Online deal. There's like a thing where you can sign up for somebody's family plan on eBay and they just add you to your network. So you get like a year's worth of NSO for, $15. It's fucking great. I played Fusion, blew my mind. Didn't even know they could make games like that back then. Incredible.
GBA, man. Console of choice. Just saying.
Nintendo killed on the handhelds.
Yeah,
Like two killer Metroids on that system. You got Zero Mission and Fusion. Oh, Zero Mission's so good, man. Zero Mission's the best. Oh, good times. I guess Nick, it's your turn.
Sure, I'll jump in there. So same thing with Adam. I haven't played any of the Metal Gear Solid games like ever. I own Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and that seems to be like very much my bag, my cup of tea in terms of like what Metal Gear is, and I've just heard it's a great game just in general.
Revengeance is fun.
I started playing Death Stranding earlier this year because I upgraded my PlayStation Plus to the catalog tier for very cheap.
Oh, guess it doesn't like your choices.
Brand new computer. You're gonna have to give me a good video transition on my feed.
No, it's just gonna be a hard cut. We talked about changing clothes in between. So
Oh, that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect.
But
yeah, everybody. Like,
all my
what's
clothes
going
are
on?
upstairs.
Yep.
Adam said all of his shirts are black, so it wouldn't have changed.
Yeah, they're all the same color.
Yeah, that's fine.
Pat,
would've
you
been
could have
naked.
worn that blanket over your head.
Anyway, so I had left off talking about not playing Metal Gear Solid.
Great.
And then I had, just generally, trying out Death Stranding because I have heard from people that it's actually a really interesting game that has a lot of like artistic value, artistic merit. And I got to tell you, I thought it was cool. There's some, Kojima knows how to do horror. He really does know how to do horror. There are very, hard-coded horror elements baked into that game, that experience. And it is very well done, but I think the problem is that Kojima is one of those auteurs that gets into his own bag of just being so self-referential. He's like one of those like very smart people that knows he's smart, but he's not nearly as smart as he thinks he is. And I think that relays into a lot of the works that he's done, whether it's Metal Gear Solid or some of the more recent stuff. And the problem is that he has an army of diehards that will stand by him to the end of the day. And I'm not saying that like Metal Gear Solid games are bad, but I just think that I mean they could be. Just listen to whatever Adam says, but I will say that it's just like I don't know if anybody will ever convince me that Kojima is like the savior for the video games industry, the director that we need for all of our games continuing forward. So anyway, that's like kind of my stance on him in the Metal Gear Solid series as a whole.
You need to listen to Jeff Keighley more.
Jeez. I played Ground Zeroes. That was enough.
Yeah.
It's the thing where like I appreciate his creativity because there are like really cool things like the whole like ice cubes melting in a PS2 game. Like that's cool stuff. Storytelling and the quote unquote artistry of it. I'm like, I feel like it's his fans think he's the Messiah, but he's just like a weird dude who makes like things that don't make any sense.
Yeah. Like it just all seems so very self-indulgent and self-referential when he like puts all this together and like, oh, he's a prophet, he can predict the future, and he's literally just pulling tropes from Tom Clancy novels here and there to put together a pseudo 007 type experience in Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So,
it's very much.
Tell me this though: can Tom Clancy read your memory card?
See, that's cool.
He probably doesn't even know what that is.
Exactly.
That's why he sold his name to Ubisoft, so they would figure it out.
But it's when you play, like 3 and they preach to you for 10 minutes about, a soldier is just a servant to the country, but is he really? And then blah, 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 blah. And then like a robot moves like a cow. I'm like, is it anime or is it Tom Clancy? Like pick one.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then like another one, Adam had mentioned the fact that a very salient point of struggling to go backwards in time playing retro games. I don't have a problem with the concept of retro games. I think that there's a lot of very valid experience, especially now when we start thinking about that the PS3 and Xbox 360 is technically retro. So, hey, it is what it is. But I just recently went back to play for some content on a good friend of mine's show, Xenosaga Episode 1, Der Wildsmacht. That was
Great
painful. I played that on original hardware for the PS2, and that was it was good game. Really, really interesting title, but oh man, it's just from a gameplay perspective, like, and me coming fresh of, like, I was playing Rebirth at the same time I was playing that, so it's just like the
Oh, wow.
comparison is just like the experience is so like jumping into hot water. So it's like, I haven't played any of this, but as a big Xeno fan, I haven't played any of the Xenoblade Chronicles, and I've heard 3 is really good. I've heard all of them are very, very well done, but I haven't done that, and that's
2
definitely
kind of goes a little fan servicey, but they are good, all of them.
Yeah. And I will say this is the last one that I'll just throw out there, especially with Corey being our resident Zelda buff, our resident Zelda nerd. I have a very, very big piece of shame in my backlog that I don't really have an excuse for, and that is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I never played it. Owned a GameCube, never played it. Didn't own a Wii U, so I didn't play the best version of that game. But I keep assuming that it's like one of the core Zelda titles, so you'd assume that Nintendo is going to put that on a modern platform, and they just haven't. So
maybe someday, maybe.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
not this year. We're getting a Zelda game this
year. to quietly sob in the corner until they do.
Look, I'm only the resident Zelda person here now because Stephanie's not here. But also to that effect, I have never played A Link to the Past. So
okay, your license is revoked.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But I can't wait for Echoes of Wisdom. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm very excited that they did the Link's Awakening art style for that.
Yeah.
All right. Boss Rush Banter of the Week. Boss Rush Banter is our daily discussion piece you can find on the Boss Rush website, bossrush.net. This one's a quick one, but I think it's an interesting discussion. So the banter is from Andrew Millard. Kinetsugami, Path of the Goddess is a sight to behold. The reason why I chose this for this week's banter is because there does seem to be somewhat of a rise in the AA gaming experience, that $50 range game. We had Miles Morales a few years ago, Lost Legacy for Uncharted, and then you have stuff like Kinetsugami and some of these other games that are coming out. And, I think Flintlock is $50. And so my question is, are we going to see a resurrection of AA games? And if we are, how soon? Or at least that smaller experience, like a Miles Morales, because I wouldn't call that a AA game. I would just say it's a smaller experience. But, Adam, I'm going to go your way first.
Yeah, I mean, I took a lot of notes on this one because I was like, there's actually pretty interesting. I think that AA games has like already been a thing, and like we're kind of already here, but we just have to think differently. Because I think a lot of us want to think back to, the early aughts. Is that what you call it? It's like before it's
the game I always circle as a AA game is Darksiders. That's like the quintessential AA.
I was actually thinking of like THQ before Embracer. So you think about your Nickelodeon tie-in games, your whatever. Everyone thought of that as a THQ made AA games, right? And then THQ obviously went under. But I think it was just like large indies became, excuse me, not large indies, large independents, right? Because everyone thinks of an indie game, it's like, these 5 dudes in a garage or whatever. But there's a lot of independent developers which are bigger than that, which I think is what is making that space. So just for example, Lies of P came out last year. Souls-like Replay Pinocchio did very well. People liked it, got some nominations and stuff. That game was made by, I was looking at the Wikipedia, here we go. Started as 60 people, team expanded to 100 people. You wouldn't say a team of 60 people is an indie, they're in their garage, but you also wouldn't say that's Ubisoft with 1,000 employees across 10 studios, right? So to me, that says, looks like the AA space. Like that game also wasn't, I don't know if it was full price, but it's a day one Game Pass game. I feel like if you get these games made by 20 to 100 people, not at maybe full price on a subscription service, like I feel like that's feeling what AA used to mean. Yeah. Right. Because you do have your indies made by one person, like Inscription. amazing game. I would say that qualifies as indie, not AA. But then again, you have a lot of studios not owned by one of the big guys, but are, still sizable, making a lot of those really good games that, are getting recognition, coming out to multiple consoles, not just on PC. I think that is the new AA space. I think we just have to change our mind that SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom doesn't have to mean AA anymore. It can be Flintlock. It can be Lies of P. It can be anything from Focus Entertainment, like The Surge or stuff like that. I think that's the new AA. So I think we've had it. We just have to change the way we normally would think a AA game is.
Yeah. The big example for me the last year or so is also like the Plague Tale games. Those games are
perfect example.
Awesome, but AA experiences for sure. Nick, what do you think?
I agree with everything that Adam said. I think he hit the nail right on the head when it comes to our perception of AA. I kind of look at it from a standpoint of less of kind of it's like a combination of like the public perception versus what actually exists right now. What are the games today? And Corey, you had mentioned previously, like Uncharted Lost Legacy or Spider-Man Miles Morales. I would never. I would struggle feeling comfortable characterizing those as AA experiences because they're coming from first-party developers. I look at those games like DLC that just spiraled out of control, and they became bigger projects than they were initially scoped for, and so they got their own game, right?
Yeah,
and they
maybe
got
calling those AA was really the wrong thing.
Right. And yeah, I mean, either way, I think like when I think about AA, I do think about, shorter experiences, more contained, focused experiences, the kind of party that, the normal fare that you're going to get on Game Pass. Like, and it's weird too, because indies, obviously we talked about how like indies are occupying the space of like how we would characterize a AA experience. But when you think about a game like Stray from Annapurna, like they have a lot of tech behind that, and they have a lot of like very talented developers that are working on that, and they're very well funded. And then there was like a whole conversation that came out, I don't know if it was earlier this year on Twitter, I mean, time doesn't really matter, but like there was this whole argument on what was considered, I think it like happened last year when they put what was it, the fishing
Dave the
game.
Diver.
They put Dave the Diver in the indie category, and people were like, hold on, it's from Nexon, it's not indie, right? So it's like sometimes we have to kind of like juggle in the air what we want to arbitrarily characterize as, hey, this is an indie experience, hey, this is a AA experience. But I agree with you. I feel like when you look at games like Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess, or if you're looking at a Flintlock Siege of Dawn, if you're looking at more recent Game Pass offerings, those are really valid, worthwhile experiences that I feel like people not only have the opportunity to play, but really should play so they can expand the breadth of their flavor profile when it comes to playing video games, period. So it's like seeing a resurrection of it, I just, I don't know. Like, I would love to see more of stuff like Sea of Stars, but are we going to call that AA, or are we going to call that indie? Is where I start, kind of wondering. It's like, because 505 Games and Remedy Studios, they're a third party publisher. Are we going to call Control a third party, a AA game? Or are we going to call Alan Wake 2? Certainly, I would not call Alan Wake 2 a AA experience, but I feel like somebody could make the argument for it if they really wanted to.
I'd say team size and budget. Like I think that's you point to team size and budget, and you could determine, what you think it would be.
100%. Agree with you there.
Pat, you've been quiet.
Honestly, my opinion matches right up with Adam and Nick. I don't think the term AA game is really like. If you asked me this 3 years ago, I would have said certainly, because then you had the Miles Morales, you had the Uncharted Lost Legacy. But I feel like the bigger publishers said, you know what, we rather focus on the AAA games right now, is what they wanted to move to. So I feel like in their interpretation, AA is no longer going to exist. So something else is going to fill that vacuum, and I believe that's going to be indie developers. They're going to be making, some, like, we're already seeing some good stuff from indie developers that are like around the quality of like, a good, like, as long as they're funded well, they're gonna make a good quality game. Like, say maybe Deathbound, or Lies of P. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
and these are the ones that are gonna make these slightly more cheaper games, but
Yeah.
shorter experience.
And you get into like interesting situations, like when you look at games like Octopath Traveler 2 versus A Sea of Stars. Octopath Traveler, a game published by Square Enix, but it's like I almost think about like AA experiences as more of a niche genre. Like, like I don't know, Adam, you're a huge offensive coordinator, college football fan. Would you call
Mhm.
like, Madden NFL like, head coaching the video game? I don't even know if they make those games anymore. I feel like they don't, but
No,
like
they haven't since 2009. Believe me, I know.
but like I would say that fits squarely in like the genre of being a AA experience. Same thing with like Roller Drome, from 505 Games. Yeah, it's like those are all kind of like walking that line. And even going deeper than that, you think about like scope and size, funding, and the size of like the development team. Pentiment from Obsidian, a first party Xbox game,
Mhm.
but at its core, really a AA title.
Yeah, AA scope, but AAA studio.
Yeah.
Kind of an idea.
Hi-Fi Rush 2 and Psychonauts 2. Like Xbox, like we've had this discussion a couple times on other podcasts, but like Xbox seems to be they have the AA space filled out for Game Pass, right? Like with well, I guess not Hi-Fi Rush anymore, but those types of experiences and Grounded and Psychonauts 2 and they have that, they kind of have that space figured out a little bit. It's the AAA problem that they're having, but
Yeah. When are they going to have their Last of Us moment? When are they going to have their God of War moment?
yeah,
Is what you keep waiting for, because Halo Infinite wasn't it. I don't know if Indie's going to be it. I would like it to be, but I just don't think it will be.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens over the course of the next year with them. But I feel like people lost sight of the AA experience when the rise of indies. I mean, indies exploded. I mean, even after Xbox Live Arcade went away, like the rise of indies just kept going and going and going. I mean, you look at Braid to N Plus to Shovel Knight to Axiom Verge and these huge indies in like the mid 2010s or whatever, and then now every other day a new indie is coming out that's like exploded onto the scene. I mean, Pat, you and Stephanie played Animal Well, and that like took over our Discord for like 2 or 3 weeks. Animal Well, and it's just that made by one guy plus
one
like,
guy did the entire thing.
Yeah, and it's like it's nuts how the rise of indies kind of almost killed the AA space, not because AA games weren't coming out, but people have just gravitated towards these indie experiences. And now that the indie experiences are growing past the pixelated Metroidvania platformer every other game, like they're growing into that PS1 and 64 space. I mean, what was that one kind of Resident Evil 1
Crow
PS1?
Country.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like those types of games are starting to come out of indie studios. And
Yeah.
I think the way we have to look at indie games also has to change as we go into looking at AA experiences too. And Adam, like you said, scope, budget, who's publishing it, who's that kind of thing. But there's a lot of great AA games out there. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to like rediscover a lot of these because honestly because of Game Pass. And Evil West is one
Perfect
came to
example.
Game
That was
Pass.
a
That's
great game.
AA as hell.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
Absolutely.
like, man, I would never pay $50 for that game, but it came to Game Pass. I'm like, yes, let's kill some
Pretty sure that's a
vampires.
focus.
Yeah, I think
Enjoy
it is.
So.
Yeah, my co-host Will all the time talks about the necessity of 7 out of 10 games And
Mhm.
any game from like AAA to like very, very like one person team indie game can be a 7 out of 10. But most often, what you see occupying that space of what we would typically characterize as like a AA is like a Biomutant or
Yeah.
like a, Atomic Heart. These
Yeah.
games that are interesting in their own right, maybe not the best experience that you've ever had, but
Mhm.
still worthwhile. I think like what's a little bit tricky about it as we move forward is that now that we're in the video game space, like publishers and developers both are in this like frame, and like the industry has shifted so rapidly from people buying, consuming during COVID, and now we're back to work, right? And we're not consuming as much, we're not streaming as much, and you see all of these tech companies losing stock price, falling off. I mean, there are people talking about we're in a recession right now. That's not necessarily related specifically to the video game space, but the point is that you see that publishers these days have a much less, like they have a much lower risk profile, a much lower risk tolerance for wanting to put forward, I don't know, what is it, like what would you say, like $1 million to a development budget for somebody to put together a AA title that could potentially garner some type of accolades at BAFTAs or maybe the Game Awards at the end of the year, but most likely won't, or most likely won't have that developer space. I think that's what's tricky, is that unless you're marketing and you're pitching your experience as a core indie title that's geared and your targeted demographic are indie fans, then you have a space where you can get funding for that game. But then otherwise, like, you're going to be making a third person action open world adventure RPG experience.
Yep.
Yeah. Last point I'll say is that when you think about what AA, indie, whatever is, I would think, just random math, not actual math, there's only maybe 30 actual AAA games a year. We're talking about like $100 million budget. I mean, you've got what Ubisoft puts out, what EA puts out, what the console makers put out, whatever the other Rockstar, where 2K puts out, right? That's really all the only true, like, if it's getting a commercial on Monday Night Football, that is a AAA game.
Yeah. If it's on a
So
bag
there's
of
really not
Doritos,
that much in that. There's not a lot in that space, really. So
Yeah,
we just got to figure out, or they need to figure out, the money to make things that are not to that budget, because most people cannot succeed in that business. So
yeah.
there's a lot more
100%.
below that.
Cool. Well, it was a great discussion. I liked a lot of the answers there. But we're gonna move into our last segment. We're gonna blow through these listener questions, and then we'll get on out of here. Our first, oh my God, Steven Myers via a Twitter DM to the Boss Rush Podcast account, of all places, the account that we don't use. I wanted to say thanks for bringing on all the awesome guests. I am a podcast whore, and my podcast app has been shooting blanks by the end of the week. But these new pods
this guy
are the electrolytes I need to please the lady of my ears. Oh my God.
Great question.
This guy clearly listens to After Dark.
I know. I feel like this question wasn't, like, the way it was written was intended specifically for Laurent to hear. If you had to play through an entire series from start to finish, which series would it be? Maybe it's a series you've always wanted to play or haven't, or an old favorite. Thanks for keep bringing on guests to impregnate my ears full of sound babies. Oh my God.
I hate it.
I hate all of this. I mean, for me, I think front to back, I don't think Zelda would be a bad way to go, because there's a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
You have your 2D,
A lot of different
your top
games.
downs, your 3D, classic 3D Breath of the Wild style. I don't think that would be a bad choice for me. I think I would also pick Xenoblade, just because I've never played it and I've always wanted to. And if I had to play those before I played anything else, then that would be a good excuse, I guess. So
There's some easy answers. I mean, I think Mass Effect. It's a fun trilogy, plus Andromeda. I actually don't even hate Andromeda as much as some people did.
Actually,
You could think
Andromeda.
Arkham. Andromeda's fine. I think it's pretty good. Arkham obviously would be another. Those are very good games. Play these three, and it's not a lot, Because like Zelda, obviously good answer, but that's if you have to play all of them, that's a lot of Zelda.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say for fun though, XCOM. Play XCOM, specifically the Firaxis ones, so XCOM 1 and 2.
Nice.
Great games, and that won't take me, 100 hours to get through those two, so not too bad.
Nice. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Nick?
So if I had to choose a franchise, like, if I've impregnated Steven's ears, he's calling me up for child support, right? You know what I mean? The game the game that the franchise that I'm gonna have to choose to play front to back, Resident Evil. You get a lot of variety, and it's like 95% good games, 5% bad, or no, good bad games, right? So it's like they're so bad they're good. Anyway, so that would be like my, have to pay child support franchise. But if I was going to choose from my heart, I'd say like Fire Emblem. Play all the Fire Emblem games front to back.
Man, that would take forever. Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
you could last.
Yeah.
Pat, is it Trails? Trails of Cold Steel. Final Fantasy.
No, it would actually be the Yakuza.
Ooh, nice.
And it's something I've actually worked on. Yeah, it's something I've actually worked on. Like I've done 0, and almost all the way up through 3. Like I quit kind of towards the end of 3, but I've also done 6. I need to finish Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth as well. So if I had to do a series, I would finish that entire series off.
Nice.
But I do recommend the Trail series.
Where do you start in the Trail series? That's the big question of 2024. Where do you start?
Well, you can't start at the beginning, so I would start at Trails Trails to Zero.
Sure you can.
No, you can't. Unless you have a PC or PSP.
Sure you can. Steven, never write in again. Thanks for writing it. Oh boy, this name we haven't seen for a while. Deshaun Malone writes in. Hello, gentlemen and the wonderful lady. It's been a while. Stephanie's not here. Sorry, guys. Pat, you can be the lady, unless you want me to be the lady.
It's fine. I have man boobs. We can do it.
I wasn't going to go that far. It's been a while, but I'm back on my feet and ready to participate in pod questions once again. If you could create a video game based on a licensed IP, what would you make and how would you make it? What developer would you helm to create it? Oh boy, man, I don't like this question. It's too hard. The IP for me would be Ninja Turtles for sure. Ninja Turtles. I always wanted. There was a rumor after Arkham Knight came out that Rocksteady was working on a Ninja Turtles game.
That'd been good.
Like kind of like Arkham, and that would be what I would want. Honestly, would be like an Arkham Asylum style Ninja Turtles game. Like make the sewers a big maze. Maybe you don't go up top. Maybe you just keep going down through the sewer, and maybe there's like a Dimension X portal that you go fight Krang or something at the end. Super Shredder. Something like that would be my pick.
Well, I got one. I want to bring the Boys series into video game world, and I would give it to Sucker Punch.
Hell yeah.
Because I feel like a Boys style game would be perfect in Sly Cooper form. Where like each character kind of gets their own like little missions to do before like a grand, you're going to take down this big bad. Which obviously would be Butcher, who'd be the character who does that one. Well, maybe they'll throw in like Huey just for surprise, but
I don't know anything about that series. I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, nope, I can't watch this. It's too gross. Even though I like the premise a lot. But
it's good. I mean, it is gross, but it is good.
I love it.
Yeah. Nick, Adam, who wants to jump next?
I have one. I just don't have the developer, so I only have half the question. I would love like high-paced, frenetic action again, I don't know who's really, really good at this kind of action, but I would love a John Wick game.
Oh yeah.
Hex is okay. It's fine. It's not necessarily what I would have made for a John Wick game. I understand it, making it like a strategy, like turn-based thing, because it's hard to do John Wick in a video game. You know what I'm saying? Like that amount of choreography and stuff seems very difficult. So I don't know who would do it, but if someone made me a third-person action game where you just do crazy John Wick stuff, I'd be super down for that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Actually,
That'd be awesome.
who would do that?
I'm like, I don't. So who has the most budget and the most time in the world to make the best action? Like, I don't know who that would be, but it'd be cool.
Man, that is cool.
Because it's shooting and melee, but then also you have to have crazy set pieces.
right?
I would say that it should be the studio that did. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of the game. It was the Absolver Digital. Should go ahead and do this one. They did the one with.
It's like the multiplayer fighting game, right?
Right.
Absolver, the game, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I would consider Crystal Dynamics, maybe.
I was thinking, like, who did Max Payne 3? I guess that's as close.
That was
as we've
Rockstar.
gotten.
That was Rockstar. Yeah.
I mean, like, what team? I assume that's not the. I don't know how many teams they have at Rockstar. I mean, that would be the people who would have the budget.
Yeah.
To make it good. So I guess Rockstar make me a John Wick game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I would play that.
Oh,
Nick,
Slow Clap was the people who made Absolver, by the way.
Clap.
Oh.
Yeah, Slow Clap.
They also made Sifu.
That's what I was referencing. Sifu was
the
the
guys who
game
made Sifu.
because I feel like they
Yeah.
could just put a gun in your hand and you got John Wick
There you
video
go.
game. You know.
Yeah.
For me, if I had to pick one IP that's a little bit off the beaten path that maybe potentially people might not have heard of, there's this author Matthew Woodring Stover who created the series the Acts of Cain that started with the first book in the series from 1997 called Heroes Die. Really awesome fantasy novel. I don't know if any of you gentlemen have ever read this or heard about this one. It's a little bit obscure, but it does a lot of incredibly cool stuff. It's about kind of like this futuristic, like hyper capitalistic society that learned how to isekai actors into a high fantasy world with like magic and dragons, but then they put like a chip in their head that relays their like visual footage back to the people that like watch it in like the present world that they're from. And they force these actors to like go do incredibly like dangerous things like stage a coup or assassinate an emperor or fight a dragon and stuff. And so it's like it's like kind of a meta commentary on the way that we look at media and everything, but it's really, really cool. And it's got like heartfelt relationships and stuff. And I mean, I feel like if anybody could pull it off, it'd probably be, this is an easy choice, but Naughty Dog. This would be a AAA third person action adventure. And, it'd be gritty and like violent and super dark. It'd be probably, but like, I mean, that's what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's where I'd go.
Jack's one was pretty light.
Yeah, Jack.
Then they went gritty and dark.
You're right. Exactly.
That's where it all turned.
Jack's 2. Jack's downhill slope.
It's because you had to ride those stupid hover bikes around the city. Made everybody angry. All right. Our last question comes from Big Lens 13. I have a question about how you guys go about picking which platform you play a game on. How do you choose and why do you choose it? Thanks. Well, if I think it's a big AAA game, I usually purchase it on Xbox. If it's available on Switch, I do try to purchase it there too, or not too, but you know, I have limited TV time, so Switch is my baby, and I'll play the exclusives when I'm interested on PlayStation.
Nice.
Pat, you're all over the place.
Me?
Yeah.
I am all over the place. I will usually go with the PlayStation just because I like my trophies. If it's something that's a little more indie-ish or something I see myself more playing handheld, I will go with the Nintendo Switch. And Xbox, I kind of aimed for more of a multiplayer experience or like online experience. So like that's why I got my Diablo and my Borderlands series on. But then like now I have almost no one that plays Xbox, so
Hey, I play a lot of Xbox.
just not the games I'm into.
You're right. I hate Borderlands.
Mm.
Not really. I've just never played Borderlands. I played the first one for a little bit, but
He was amazing.
that's what I hear. That's what I hear. Nick, how do you choose? Are you one of
this
those
is
PC people?
I am a fucking sicko. I have everything known to man. So obviously, if it's a Nintendo first party title, I'm playing on the Switch, or I'm playing on the, if I'm going backwards in time, I'm playing on the 3DS. But when it comes to like the PS5 has turned into my like exclusive console. Like if I'm going to get a Sony first party title, I'm playing on, of course, on the PS5. I don't really care about waiting for those games to come to PC or come to Steam because I don't care about modding those games. I think the PS5 is a great machine and they run perfectly fine on it, and so I like that. And I also, if it's something that's like going to come from one of my favorite developers, like Insomniac or Sucker Punch, whatever the case may be, I'm going to want to get the platinum in that game, right? So that's when I choose to go to PS5. When it comes to Xbox, that's when it starts to get a little bit hairy, because if it's going to be an indie game that's coming out and I know it's coming on like Steam day one, it just really depends game by game. If it's coming to Game Pass, I'm going to check Game Pass first to see if it's free there. If it's not coming to Game Pass, then the likelihood is that I'm either going to buy that indie game on the Switch or on Steam because I can play it on my ROG Ally. I'm representing for our missing host here today, LeBron. So, but
You saved ROG Ally 2 more times. He'll magically
right.
appear like
He'll
Beetlejuice.
appear in the mirror, you know what I mean? But yeah, obviously, all of the big Xbox first party games I'm going to be playing on, whether it's going to be the PC Game Pass launcher, which can be a hit or miss, or it's just going to be on the Series X. So it just kind of depends, it's generally like that. If it's going to be exclusive, I play it on the system that it has because I'm privileged enough to have access to all of those. But otherwise, it's like if I know if it's going to be like a niche title, or if I'm going back to play an older game, like I don't know, Final Fantasy 9, I'll buy that on Steam. Play it there.
Nice. Final Fantasy 9. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
One of these days, maybe. I don't know.
I would wait for the remake that hasn't been announced.
Yeah, it's
but
not
definitely
going to happen.
coming out.
No,
how do you
they
choose that?
said that they were to remake 8, it would take at least 16 years to do so.
Good. They can keep
9.
right
Why
where
would
it's
it take them that long? That's so silly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so 9 would just be insanely hard for them to do.
Well, they're supposedly in a remake process for that one. That's the word on the street.
Yeah,
so that's what they're
send
working
that
I
on
think
now.
that's just wishful thinking.
No, I think there have been like rumors from like
Is that the
leakers.
NVIDIA leak?
Yeah, it was
every
in
one
there.
of those came true.
Yeah. The only ones
know.
that aren't out from that NVIDIA leak are the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster,
Oh, I would love that. Oh,
Final Fantasy 9 remake, and then because I remember like everybody thought it was just like a fluke. These games were coming out, and Kingdom Hearts 4 was on it, and then we got a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, and I was like,
And then we never heard about the game again.
yeah, well, it takes 20 years to make one of these games because fucking Mr. Mouse has to approve everything.
Got to make sure Goofy's feet are big enough or whatever.
that's right. Got to make sure Sora has that clown shoes. It's either clown shoes or the dogs have to be out. You got to let the dogs out.
The weird thing is Sora looks like a normal human in this one.
In 4, it's kind of strange,
in
isn't it?
human world.
Yeah, he disappears from his world.
Oh yeah, that's right, dude. I forgot more about Kingdom Hearts 3 than I. Adam, save me, help.
No, so I pick. It's actually very simple for me now. If it's a game that I want to play on a console, well, here's the thing: if I get a code for a game, for indie games, normally it's PC code. I'll take that. Or if it's just a game that's on sale or whatever, Amazon Prime Gaming, whatever. PC's PC is probably my number 2. Number 1 is Xbox, especially if it's multiplayer, because that is where my friends play, and Game Pass. And the synergy between Game Pass on Xbox and PC makes it like, that's where my friends are, and that's where my biggest collection is. So it's normally going to be Xbox and then second PC. PlayStation, I will do the exclusives, except if they're multiplayer, then I will do on PC. Because like Helldivers earlier this year, I was like, oh, this game will be fun. Oh, I don't have PS Plus, and I'm not going to give them $100 to play Helldivers for however long I play it. Bought that on PC.
It was $40. It was $40, retail price.
Not for the year. No. I'm talking about PS Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. To pay online.
I don't have
right.
PS Plus.
So you
I
don't
don't
have
pay
that
to play
actively.
online.
Got it.
Nope.
Checked out.
I don't, because I don't have friends on PlayStation. Why would I pay for PlayStation Plus?
That's fair.
So yeah, PlayStation, literally, I only used it one time last year and it was play Spider-Man 2, and I didn't touch it for the rest of the year. So it's Xbox, PC. If I have time for the other ones, maybe. But those are my go-tos.
No Resident Evil 4 remake?
It was on Xbox.
That was on Xbox, though.
You
So
don't
I
get
also don't
platinum.
care about
You don't
trophies
get-
or achievements at all.
that's
Do
fair.
don't care even a little bit.
That's fair.
I think
You don't
I
have
think the
the-
last. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna crack a joke and say, he doesn't have the completionist curse that has been placed upon my head by my co-host.
I know.
I have 2 platinums on PlayStation. One is God of War Ragnarok. One is Spider-Man 2. And that's only because when I bought a PS5, I had to make a new PlayStation account because I forgot my old information because I did not care that much about my trophies to
Hell yeah.
go through that process. Because I'll just make a new one. I don't care at all.
I also have 2 platinums. One is Spider-Man Remastered, and the other is Horizon Zero Dawn.
There you go.
I think the last time I turned my PlayStation on to play a game was when Stellar Blade demo came out. I was like, man, I really like Stellar Blade. I want to play Stellar Blade, and then I didn't.
That happened this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I had more friends on PlayStation, I'd play more, but I don't. So I stick to Xbox. And I also prefer the offset but sticks.
Yeah.
Come on. It's beautiful.
Thumbs are too close together. Come on.
I don't know that dual.
Talking
sense
about
is a
thumbs
good
hitting together on the
controller.
N64. That's
Yeah.
the PlayStation controller,
Yeah.
just always touching.
All over again.
You gotta let the
Nightmares.
thumbs touch. All right, you gotta
No.
you gotta let them touch.
You
a
just
little
stay
bit.
away.
Look, it's better than impregnating your sound ears or whatever.
Oh my God, we can move on from that one.
Oh geez, that's it. We did it. Man, this was a long one. This was a beefy episode. You're welcome, everybody. Nick, Adam, thank you for your time tonight. I know this was a little bit longer than I think we all anticipated, but it was awesome. You guys are welcome back anytime. Obviously, I don't think I have to say that. All of their information will be in the show notes, links, follows, all that stuff. Respawn Aim Fire, Friday Night Gamecast. Go check it out. Pat,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for staying awake long enough to hang out too. And I know it's been a long night. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
With that said, if you want to support us, go to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Subscribe on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.